Hey, how are you all? I was just having a conversation with Molly Brown, and you may have called me, but I had my back turned a little bit. Maybe I didn't hear you say, Miss Gibbs, we're here. We're ready to learn. And and I was turned this way, so the sound wasn't traveling. Oh, sound. We've been learning about sound, right? Well, today I think what we'll talk about is why can we hear? What's making us able to hear? All right, let's go back here. Molly and I will go to the big chair. Okay. Okay. Here we are. Can you see us? Okay, Molly's gonna sit here with me and help me with what we have up here. Now, it says, why can we hear sounds? And we've been talking about sounds. We talked last time when we met in the lab, and we were talking about sound, vibrations, and pitch. Now, one of the things that we said about sound is sound travels in what? Waves, right? Okay. So, if we think about our ear, and the sound coming to our ear, it's traveling by waves. See these are waves I drew up here? Let me bring this just a little closer so you can see a little bit better. Okay? Can you see that okay? Alright, so I drew some waves. I'm going to draw them a little bit darker. Just go over that. Can you see that? Yeah, here we go. Okay. Sound is traveling by waves. Those travel into our ear, and there is a thing called an eardrum. Now, if I pretended that these were my drumsticks, and I wanted to pretend like I'm in a band, and I'm going to tap on something. I made some noise by tapping onto my drum, my make-believe drum. It's just a surface. But me using my sticks, I'm going to pretend like these are my drumsticks, okay? Because I don't have a drum. But what I wanted you to understand is that this drum itself can't make any sound by itself. Something has to hit it. Something has to come in contact with the drum in order for the drum to make the sound, all right? And then we then hear what the sound that a drum would make, okay? So let's just think about that when we think about our eardrum. I just kind of drew a little drum right there. See that? But anyway, so eardrum, the sound comes in and it hits that eardrum and we can hear. Now, if there's anything that blocks that sound from coming into our eardrum, whether it's because we're sick, sometimes when you're sick, because see, Molly's getting over a cold. So for a while, Molly was very stuffy and she just didn't feel well, right? That's why you haven't seen her in the lab as much as you've seen Tommy. Well, anyway, and this is all fun, make believe, okay. But anyway, so we're just to say that Molly was sick. Molly couldn't hear well because her head was all stuffy. You know how it feels when you get a cold. And you might have some fluid in your ear. You might have something going on with your earache, ear infection. Okay, so that's something that's there that has to be treated with medicine to clear it up so you'll be able to hear well, all right? Sometimes if you go swimming, and a lot of times when you go swimming, you get water in your ear and you have to kind of try to get it out because it's a weird feeling when you feel like you have something in your ear that can't come out or needs to come out, and you can do that safely, all right? So when that happens, the sound waves can't reach that area in the middle, your eardrum. They can't reach, the sound can't reach it the same. So you're not going to be able to hear as clearly. So somebody might have to call your name a couple of times, and they're like, what, you didn't hear me? No. Just like in that video when the boy was playing his guitar, and then he stopped and he called out for his friend to come and give him something, but she didn't hear him. And she said, I didn't hear you. Even though he kept speaking louder and louder, Why? Because she was in another room. And the room, the wall, and all of the things between the sound blocked. It's like it blocked. You know, I would have just draw a line through here and say, oh, right there. That's as far as that sound's going to go. It won't reach where it needs to go, so that's why. So if there's a wall there in a room or something, and somebody tries to talk to you, they're over here and they're trying to talk to you, and that wall blocks it. So that's why it's important that if we're talking to someone, we speak loudly and not shouting now. We're not shouting at someone. But depending on where we are, will determine whether or not they'll be able to actually hear you, all right? Now, if your voice is already very soft and you're trying to make your point, and your teacher or friend might say, can you speak up just a little bit because I can't hear you well? I know that there's some sound coming, but I don't understand what you're trying to say. So it's important that we speak up and do what we need to do. Okay, so there might be something that blocks our sound, all right? And that would change maybe what we understand. All right, so we're going to sit here for just a minute. We're going to talk a little bit. We're going to demonstrate a few things. Now, the way that I am talking on this screen through the computer, you have a volume. That volume is up so that you can hear me. And I'm trying to talk loud enough to where I'm not shouting at you, but making it clear what I'm trying to say to you, all right? So that you can hear exactly what I'm trying to say. All right, so here's what happens if, let's just say, you turn the volume up. Before we even do the ear thing, you turn the volume completely off, all right? You don't do it, but if you did, you'd see my mouth, my lips moving, but you won't hear what I'm saying to you because the volume on your computer would be turned down. Now, the other part of that would be if you closed your ears, like close your ears. Now, we're going to do that just for a short time. So everybody put your fingers in your ear or close your ears and see how well you can still hear me. You might be able to hear some of what I'm saying, but you might not be able to hear me as clearly as you need to, all right? Now, let's unplug our ears, and I'm going to continue to talk at the same volume I was just talking, and you should hear me better now than you did with your ears closed. Okay, now, sometimes we have things that are wrong with our ear, like I do. I really do have something wrong with my left ear, okay? So if I am sitting somewhere and somebody, let's just say Tommy's here too. Tommy came and was asking for some snacks. He came up behind me and was asking me something, but there was a lot of noise around me too. And then he might have to talk to me very loudly. He might have to tap me on the shoulder and I have to look and I realize he's there. Because why? If I have a problem, which I do with my left ear, I don't hear as well as I do from my right ear. So what has to happen is I try to make sure that I turn my right ear toward whatever sound is going on, being aware of what's around me so that the sound will travel into my ear the way it should, and my ear, that's a better ear, will be able to hear what somebody and understand what somebody's saying to me. Okay, so there may be things that aren't physically wrong with your ear, but you've had to close them up or cover them up for some reason. In a few months, it's going to start getting cold. So you might put on your earmuffs. Your earmuffs are going to block off some of your hearing, and you might not hear as well. You also might be so cold that you have a hood over your head, and that's going to keep you from hearing as well too, because now not only do you have on your earmuffs, but you have a hood on top of that, and that may block your hearing. You still might be able to hear, but the sound has to travel through your hood of your coat and through your earmuffs. So that's going to cover you up. So when we think about sound traveling in waves, it has to reach where it's going to be effective, okay? So we have to think about that when we think about how sound travels. So we're talking about sound traveling in waves. Sound is different, and there could be different reasons why sound doesn't reach what it needs to reach, or it may have changed as it's heading its way because of things that interfere. Like I said, with Tommy coming to ask me a question, right? Tommy's coming to ask me a question, but because my ear on this side, my left ear, doesn't work as strongly as my right, Tommy doesn't know that. He's just talking. And I don't hear him. His sound waves are not reaching this ear because there's a problem with the ear, okay? So I have to turn and look, and he taps me. I look, he tells me what he wants me to know, and then I can answer his question, okay? All right. So if we look at our demonstration up here, it would be, let me see, Tommy's going to erase this one, okay? So Tommy's going to erase the sound waves. Now I also turned my head away from the screen, so it may have been a little bit lower than it was before. Now, what this would look like, do you see this? If we block our ears, it's like the sound waves go away, like there's not even any sound waves there. It's just my ears there, but I don't hear anything. Something blocked it, okay? So just use that as your imagination. I mean, you know, use your imagination to kind of understand what that is. Okay, now, here's what I'm going to need you to do. I want you to try different things. Now, you be really, really careful with your ears. You don't stick things in your ear. You don't do, things that aren't safe. And I know before, here we go, I have also, we use these a lot, right? Little earphones, okay? So the sound is going to come through the earphone from whatever it is plugged into. Okay, so that's why we're able to hear this, whatever's coming through that sound, okay? Even from the ear that's a little weak for me, I could still hear a little bit, it'd be a little bit muffled, but I could still hear some sound. However, if I plug this in my ear, plus it's on the side where I have some difficulty with this ear, I probably won't hear anything, because whatever's closest to my eardrum is what I'm going to hear. Okay, so in this case, when you all wear your headphones at school or you use these, you're hearing more of what's coming through your earphone or your little earbuds or your headphones, than the outside part. So if I put these in completely, the sound is going to come through these from whatever it's hooked up to, and that's what I'm going to be able to hear, because these sound waves closest to my eardrum versus what's on the outside here, okay, traveling through. All right, so that's why sometimes when you have your headphones and teacher says, they call your name, you're not being rude, you just can't hear, because the sound waves are from your teacher's mouth are being blocked by the sound that's coming out of this in directly to your ear, okay? All right, so you're going to try a few things, maybe try putting some cotton balls. Mom and Dad will help you make sure those things are nice and safe. Maybe you can practice with some earmuffs. Just kind of see how are things around your house? Like, are you able to pay attention? And we'll have some fun with that. But you'll have an activity after this. I want you to do that little experiment at home. All right? Experiment scientists like to try to figure things out. All right, but be really safe. Do not put anything dangerous in your ear. It's not supposed to be there. Don't do that. And let's keep learning, and let's keep thinking like a scientist. All right? Have a good one. Molly says bye.